What's going on, Falcon fan? This your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. So guys, today we're going to actually talk about free agents that the Atlanta Falcons potentially bring in to fill some of the people, so-called people thinking that the Falcons don't have, it's some position groups that could be a little light, right? They do have a full 90-man roster, but is the Falcons looking to bring other guys in, veterans in, to help solidify some of those position groups? So we're definitely going to talk about that today. Or do you, just like me, kind of feel like the Falcons already have their 90-man roster and they really good to go with the guys they're going to go into training camp with? So guys, with that being said, go ahead and please subscribe to this channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like to hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here and talk about, that's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, first question we're going to ask is if they are going to bring in some kind of free agent, right? Do the Atlanta Falcons have funds? Yes, according to Over the Cap, they have a little bit under $10 million of salary cap remaining. And that's amazing, right? All the guys they brought in about 19, 20 guys in for free agents this year, and they still got about like almost $10 million over the cap, according to Over the Cap, in cap space. So Falcons did an outstanding job bringing in talent to fill this 90-man roster. We already mentioned about how competitive the training camp is going to be. It's going to probably be some talented players that's going to probably get cut because, they only got 53 spots on this roster. So the Falcons did a great job, and still having cap space left is really awesome. But the question is, do they need to bring in more talent? Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith always talking, man, they're going to bring the best players in to make sure that they have the most competitive team, to go throughout the season with. So could they bring in some veteran guy that could help some of these position groups that some people may think that maybe it's some decent areas of improvement? A little bit more veteran presence in those positions could definitely help. Some of those positions that we could definitely look at on wide receiver, of course. We talked about that so much. The linebacker, I just talked about that the other day when I talked about Michael Walker. We let go Jermaine Ifedi. So the swing tackle position is definitely something that we definitely don't know who they're going to actually go. Could they go with Josh Ali? Could he be that guy? And then edge rusher. Do we need to bring in another edge rusher, or do we have enough guys on this Falcons defense right now to actually solidify the edge rush position? We know sacks is a big thing. The Falcons have had 18, 21 sacks in the last 2 seasons. So we've got to be able to improve that. That's another position that they could be looking at. So what we're going to do today, talk about some free agents that's out there that they potentially bring in those position groups, or you like me, like I said, feel like they are good at the positions and the personnel they actually have on this team now, 90-man roster, and good to go with the guys going on to training camp. All right, so first of all, we're going to talk about the wide receiver room. We already talked about the wide receiver room. When everybody thought probably they was going to get addressed in free agency, which they did. They brought in Matt Hollins, Scotty Miller, right? But a lot of people thought they was going to actually draft a receiver as well in the draft. They did not do that. They brought in some undrafted guys, right? They brought in some other talented guys that maybe could make the back end of that receiver room. But when I think about the receivers, I also think about all the pass catchers on the Falcon roster, which to me is the reason why the receiver room is not a concern. Think about guys like Kyle Pitts, Cordell Patterson, Jonnu Smith, Bijan Robinson. You add those to the receivers that we already have, I think we're really good for pass catchers. And like I said, Drake London, Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller, and the other 2 guys they bring in, because I think they're going to keep our 5 receivers, should be good, right? But if they decide to bring in a veteran, somebody that can definitely come in, be like a third down receiver, somebody, a go-to guy that they could definitely consider, right? Like they had Mohamed Sanu here. He was really our third down receiver, pretty much automatic. I think Drake London filled that role already a little bit, because if you go look at some of his big catches he had on 3rd and 4th down, especially when Desmond Ridder took over. I think we are already good at that position. But if the Atlanta Falcons definitely want to go out and actually look at another receivers, we could definitely think about that. So, what receivers that's out there right now that's realistically that the Falcons could actually, bring in, right? Not going to mention Hopkins, because he's still out there. I think he's more likely going to end up with New England. But you got Kenny Holiday that's out there, who hasn't done anything since he left the Detroit Lions. Of course, you got Julio Jones. I think it's time for Julio to probably, put up the cleats. Just can't stay healthy. We know how explosive, how dynamic Julio was with the Atlanta Falcons, but ever since he left, just have not been able to stay on the field. You got Pringle, right? You can bring Pringle in. I think that's going to be no better than the guys we already got on the roster. N'Keal Harry, no better than the guys that we already got on the roster. Sammy Watkins is an interesting guy, but Sammy Watkins, sort of like Julio Jones, just can't stay healthy. I think it'll be just wasting a roster spot because I don't know how healthy he'll be throughout the season. But one of the guys that was mentioned that could definitely be a player that the Atlanta Falcons could consider is Jarvis Landry. We know Jarvis Landry was a really good receiver back in his Cleveland days and things like that. Played for the Aints last year. Was not really productive at all. Actually, was injured a lot. Maybe he's on the wrong end of of going downhill as well, like these other guys. It's probably why they still on the market anyway. But a guy like Jarvis Landry, if he's healthy, you want to come in and be that third down, receiver, clutch guy that we can depend on. Maybe that's something that the Atlanta Falcons want to do. Maybe a 5-year contract, something like that. Really, like I said, honestly, in my opinion, no. But that could be a guy that Atlanta Falcons definitely could consider. They would like to bring in a guy like Jarvis Landry. So, guys, what you think about that? I'm not 100% sure that I would do it. But if the Falcons were to bring in a guy like Jarvis Landry, they feel like he's 100% healthy. Definitely, yes, he would be an improvement on the back end of the receivers that we already have here. So I would not have a problem with them bringing in Jarvis Landry. All right, let's go to the linebackers. We talked about the linebackers. We know we've probably solidified up, with our first 3 linebackers with Troy Anderson, Caden Ellis, and Michael Walker. But if you want to bring in another veteran, guys, we thought maybe Rashaan Evans was somehow going to come back. But it seemed like that never transpired. And I think he's actually still out there. If they wanted to go that route, bring a guy like Rashaan Evans back, they definitely could. But I'm going to go over a couple of guys that we definitely could consider. And I only got one that I think that I would really intrigue me to bring in. Of course, the guys, Quan Alexander. We know the way he was at Tampa. I think he's kind of felt like he played with the Jets last year. Probably not. Kyle Van Noy, 32 years old. Probably a little bit past his prime. Miles Jack is another guy that they definitely could think about. Of course, Deion Jones. I think we already had the Debo experience. I think you want a little bit bigger linebackers to come in. But Deion still, I think, has potential. Still is a great coverage linebacker. I talked about somebody that we could definitely use in coverage. So Deion Jones would be a guy that we definitely could consider. But for me, I would probably go with Zach Cunningham, formerly from the Tennessee Titans. Yes, that's that Titan connection again with Arthur Smith. But bringing the guy in from Zach Cunningham, actually played pretty good last year for the Titans. Bring in, surprised he's still out there. But if they want to bring in another veteran guy to just go along with Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson, I would not have an issue with that. So for me, if they decide to bring in a veteran guy in that linebacker room, Zach Cunningham would be the guy that potentially I think we should consider. Now let's go to the swing tackles. So looking at this, there's a lot of guys out there. I think the biggest name on here probably Taylor Lewan, but he was a left tackle. I don't think he would want to be a swing tackle because I still think he feel like he's pretty good left tackle. So they would have to convince him to come in and be that swing to play behind either Caleb or Jake. Eric Fisher, too old. Chris Hubbard, too old. Joe Haig is too old as well. But one guy is 31-year-old. I think that they could be that swing guy is Jawan James, formerly from the Baltimore Ravens. Just like that fit because we're looking at what Baltimore does. Baltimore loves to run the ball. I think that Jawan James, if healthy, could definitely come in and help be that swing tackle for us. Maybe could be just like Jermaine Ifedi. Jermaine Ifedi never really had an opportunity to actually get in because none of our tackles got hurt last year. Knock on wood when you say things like that. But bringing in a guy like Jawan James, definitely be that swing tackle. Or maybe, like I said, the guys that's already here, Tyler Vrabel, Josh Ali, maybe those guys come in and be that swing tackle already, and they don't have to do that. But if they decide to go outside, like I said, free agents, I would think about a guy like Jawan James. And last but not least, we always talk about the edge rush and making sure we have enough pass rushers here. I believe that, the additions they made and the hopefully the upside we have in guys like having guys like a Armor Ebiketie, like a D'Angelo Malone, we don't actually have to worry about things like that. So, but if they decide that just is not where they want it to be and they want to be able to have more, more pass rush, they still guys that's out there, believe it or not. And three guys in particular, they definitely could consider bringing in for a 1-year deal, maybe $6 million, leaving with about $3 million left. Unique Ngakoue, still out there, believe it or not, guys. I believe he's trying to kind of miss training camp and then try to sign on after that. Robert Quinn is another guy who had actually was really good a couple of years ago. Not sure how how good he'll be right now, but we could bring him in. Definitely the explosive pass rusher. And then Jadeveon Clowney, we know that how potential he had, right? And still have some explosiveness to him. But a guy like Jadeveon Clowney could definitely be one of the things that we could definitely consider. So those three guys is something that the Atlanta Falcons could definitely consider for pass rush. If I had my choice, of course it would be Ngakoue, right? But I don't know how much he would want to come in. Definitely would be somebody to come in to help up the numbers on the sack because he's still explosive. I mean, I think the last couple of years he always have at least 8 sacks to his name, but just can't stay on team, which is interesting about Ngakoue. So Jadeveon Clowney, a guy who can't stay healthy, of course, then I think Robert Quinn could be past his prime. But if they want to take a flyer on a guy, bring in to actually be somebody that can come in and help, I think Ngakoue would definitely be my choice for that. So guys, those are the 4 positions that the Atlanta Falcons could definitely consider to bring in for positions and things like that. At receivers, I would definitely look at Jarvis Landry. At linebacker, Zach Cunningham. At that swing tackle position, a guy like Jawan James. And then, of course, if they're going to go with another pass rusher, it would be Unique Ngakoue. So those are the 4 guys they could definitely consider. They can probably only bring in one of those guys with the amount of cap space that they have. First of all, if I had to pick a position, personally, I probably would go linebacker. Just because I think that may be the weakest position right now. Some people could disagree with me, of course, with that. But I would probably go with linebacker, bringing a guy like Zach Cunningham. Of course, most people probably would say pass rush, but I just like what we got right now. And I want to see these young guys have the opportunity to see how much better they got from year 1 to year 2. And I just feel really good about our receiver room right now as pass catchers total. And then that swing tackle, I think they have enough linemen here. One of these guys should hopefully pan out. I think Josh Ali probably is the one that's probably got an upper leg on everybody else because he have experience. But if I had my choice, it'd definitely be that linebacker position. So guys, let me know what you think about should the Falcons bring in free agents? Is this just something that they should take a flyer on? They always say they want to make the roster better. Adding any of these guys definitely would, because yes, they're probably a better player than somebody we already have on the team. Some of these guys definitely past their prime, so don't want to do that. But if they're healthy, they're ready to go, definitely I think would be a plus for these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, let me know what you think about this new free agency class that the Atlanta Falcons could bring in. And this is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.